tutorial. It's called Committed. So make sure you actually download that file. You go get it out of your downloads folder, or you can, if it's going to open up in preview. If you're wondering where it's at, if you're trying to open it directly, make sure you just save it to the correct folder. You put it in, it is going to be a link, so you're going to need to find it in your 2313 folder. So I'm going to move it from my desktop here. It should be on my desktop right here actually, to that 2313 folder that we have created with our tutorial. So it's not a final tutorial, it's a link tutorial. So put it in there with all your tutorial links. And we're going to start a new document and place it. So you're not opening it directly, you're placing it. So I'm going to start a file, new document. This particular document, let's do for print, it's called Committed. 2 M's, 2 T's, and of course it's going to be underscore your name when you save it. We're going to do it in inches. We're going to do this one landscape, okay? Only need one artboard. And we have this landscape artboard that comes up. Remember, our rulers is Command. I draw these little 4 circles. My quick way to do Command R. That is your rulers. Try Command R. We're going to get our rulers to come up, and we're going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to go to that 2313 folder with my tutorials, and I need this committed here, and I'm going to actually click and hold, and I'm going to stretch it from one side to the other. It's going to be quite large. And I'm just going to fit it here where the bottom hits, the same as my document. I don't want it running off the edge of my document there. Oops, I accidentally hit something in Pathfinder. So move it around that linked image and make sure it lines up with your document. This is the way it is plenty big. It's easy to work with. If you do move this around with the bounding box, keep in mind it's going to stretch it. You're going to have to hold down Shift if you need to resize it. If you accidentally clicked once and placed it at size, so it's tiny on the page, the artboard there, make sure you hold down Shift to resize it and try to get it close to the bottom there. So it will have a little overhang on the top, that's fine. I'm going to call this layer Committed. I'm just going to double click here. 2 M's, 2 T's, lock that layer down. Then we're going to create a new layer. And I think I'm going to pick a different color there for that layer. And I'm going to call this layer with my name. Make sure you put your name on that layer. It's worth 15 points on everyone. There's no need, we're not doing a template. There's no need to click any of those for this particular layer. Now, the very first thing we're going to get started with this committed is we're just going to trace everything. That's part 1 of the lesson. So we want no fill color. And we want a nice bright, and that's the reason I changed it to green, because I'm going to do, I think, some hot pink. You can see it quite well. And I want at least a 1-point stroke. If you can't find your stroke, go under Window. If it's not coming up in your panels, click Stroke. At least a 1-point stroke so you can see what you're doing. Let's start with, I'm going to trace here now. It is pixelated. This is an image. It's been placed. You're going to have to kind of guesstimate. You might even need a 2-point stroke if you need to be able to see it better. And you're going to want to go back and smooth this out before you move on to the second part of this tutorial. If you're not able to get smooth lines, it's okay if you alter some of these or take out parts or hit Command Z. That's what we've been doing with all of our pen tools. I'm going to see how strong this handle is here. Obviously, I can't continue on. It's going to have the extra hoop there. So I'm going to have to click back once on that anchor, and then I can continue down here. Now, if you notice, it's got this really pointed edge, and I don't need to double loop and come back up here again. I'm just going to click off by holding the Command key. But let's change the edge on this. Let's learn how to do this really quickly. So I'm gonna, it's so fuzzy, the background. I'm gonna turn it off for a minute in my layers. with the eyeball and you get a real close look. These are some sharp edges. So I'm going to select this, and in my stroke palette, I really don't need this gradient or this transparency at all right now. Maybe later we get on to designing some things, but right now we're good. So in the stroke palette, I'm going to go over to the corner, this little hamburger menu, hit show options. And well, I'm using a weight of 2 so I can see it well, and now I can really see, if I have any lumps or mistakes. But I'm going to select this, and I'm going to choose a rounded cap and a rounded corner. And did you see that? I'm going to do it again. Rounded cap and rounded corner. See how it smoothed this out? So we want a rounded cap and rounded corner. At the end, we're going to go select them all and make sure they all, because we've got some separate parts here. In any areas that are not smooth, that you want to smooth out or fix the handles on, you can go back and adjust any of those too. So if I find that I really needed to put in some points in some different places, or let's say, I'm fine with this area, but I really want to delete everything past this point, that's okay. You can get rid of parts and just do sections of it as well when you're finished. So I'm going to delete this one right here. And I remember to pick back up, you hover over with the regular pen tool. I'm hovering over the end. You want to pull a handle, you have to hold and release. I probably need a handle. It's all very curvy. And then I could retrace. If I need to take off that second handle, I could hit there. Again, click one more time back on that anchor, and I could smooth this out as I needed to. And I can also go back and click those handles. So then I'm just going to pick up here. I'm going to show you Command Y. You can see the bones of that. Remember, you hit Command Y to get on and Command Y to get off. I do go back and forth on that while I'm working. And there's 2 M's here and 2 T's. So there's a good possibility I could just copy and paste some of this so I don't have to draw it again. These are separate pieces. I'm not looping over these again. And then when I get to this part, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to click this by holding Shift. There's 2 parts here. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the first part. There's 2 parts here to this M. I'm going to hold down Option to copy and see how it changes. It has that other little selector tool underneath it. And then Shift makes it go across there on the same plane. So it's Option plus Shift to copy straight across. And then I can just add that straight line there. I can pick it back right here. If it's not quite right, I'm just going to select with the direct selection tool the end there, and I'm going to pick back up, holding on with my pen tool. I'm going to click onto that last part, and then I'm just going to draw over this part. We're going to connect it all, and I'm going to show you how to do that just a minute. First, we have to outline the strokes. We have to make it a shape. See if I can do this in a, I do it in a separate part. Good. So I can repeat this. So once again, I'm going to just make this one a different color so you can see this is a different color right here. And I can just hold down Option plus Shift to copy that over. If I want to just stretch this part over just a speck, I can. So it overlaps. Now, when you use a Pathfinder tool, you cannot use it on paths, which is kind of ironic since it's called the Pathfinder tool. But you can use it on shapes. So the reason we have to change outline stroke, and so we change these simple paths that we're making here. These are just paths with lines, and smooth out any edges. You can go back and do that as well. So we can change it into shape, so we can use that Pathfinder tool to unite some areas. So finish up all of the tracing on the E and the D. Go ahead and finish all that up. I'm going to go ahead and show you too. You're going to trace as well for this looped committed part, and I'm going to show you in the second video, part 2 of committed, how to finish this up. So Then we will learn how to do a dotted line in stroke as well. So completely trace all the C, every single letter. Don't worry about the heart up there at the top, the heart at the bottom. You'll just trace that as well. And